Hi, my name is Julia. Thank you for joining me here in this beginner's course. Today we're going to be doing chair yoga that has so many benefits. They say that sitting is the new smoking, and I really want to disprove that by integrating some movement so that we can alleviate stress and anxiety in our body. So as you're here, I want to just bring to light the posture of how natural it is to be at work and to just maybe be typing and getting into this system and rhythm of hunching over, allowing the belly to be loose. Maybe the legs are, this is what you do. I know I do. So just remembering that as you integrate this into your daily knowledge, that you can come back to this practice all day, every day, and doing it as much as possible is definitely recommended. So while you're here in the seat, maybe even come to the middle of the seat to where you can really feel the leverage of when you sit back and then when you sit forward. And noticing that the belly, when it's extended, it wants to contract much like you're doing a boat pose. And then also when you are sitting forward, it's loose and you're actually stretching the back parts of your back and your glutes and your booty. So what we're going to begin with is actually some toe activation. Because we wear shoes so much, we don't really get this grounding effect. And so when you really are able to sit on the edge of your seat and stack the shoulders and spread the toes wide and really feel the arches in our toes, that is something that is so gratifying. And it's just a simple mental adjustment of being like, hey, I haven't really felt the ground much, and that can do so much for your cortisol levels and your adrenals, and then also producing serotonin. So when we begin, we're just going to tuck our toes. I call this Wizard of Ozzing, and we're just going to gently knead into the mat. And as you're here on your chair, I recommend finding a chair that is really stable, whether you find it on carpet or you put a mat underneath something. And I also recommend to have a chair that doesn't have rollers at the end or the bottom of them. So as you begin to put a little bit more pressure in your toes, you might notice that if you roll onto the pinky side and the big toes, that it really fires up these nerve endings and veins on the top of your feet. And that feels really great. I know that sometimes when I give myself a foot massage, I'll crack my toes and then run my fingertips onto this part of the top of my foot, and that feels really intense and activating because they don't get a lot of attention if you think about it. So then after you do your Wizard of Ozzing style toe activation, you can begin to flex the toes up towards your face. And if you've taken other yoga classes where they do another toe activation by crunching the toes backwards, you can feel that too, almost to where you're coming, where the heels come directly underneath that chair. And then you can internally rotate the thighs and suck the belly in and feel yourself kind of soften and dig into those toes. So just being aware that the toes are almost, if we didn't wear shoes, they would be just as tactilely and kinesthetically attached to our brain as much as our fingers are. So allow them to kind of readjust to the environment and maybe hinge a little hips and maybe pedal out the knees to feel how that feels. And just remember that anything that you do seated on a chair, you can do off of the mat. And the same way that you would kneel and bring your hips to your heels with your toes tucked, I'm doing that now with the chair. So next, as we begin to sit and level our shoulders and our head over our hips, I'd love to do just kind of a hip opener. We do pigeon on the floor, which is when we bring the knee back behind our right wrist and then we allow our hips to sink. But in this case, we're just gonna bring our right ankle to the top of our thigh and just gently allow this knee to come out to the side. And when you're ready, you can suck the belly in and gently hinge forward. Go to a point of stimulation, and as I always say with Goldilocks, not too tight and not too loose, and you should be feeling it on the outside of this right hip and this right thigh. So you can begin to come into a nice gentle posture and then soften the shoulders, flex that right toe back towards the knee. This is very much like pigeon or figure four on your back. Then when you're ready, you can slowly inhale and gently come up and maybe just extend this knee and foot and kind of feel how it feels in its socket, and maybe windshield wiper the toes and the feet first, and then feel stable in the right leg, and then bring this left knee out and let these knees kind of align to one another and flex those left toes back towards the knee, and begin to breathe up, pull the belly in. And as I always say, notice the difference between hinging at the hip and folding over with the shoulders. So if you'd like, sometimes it feels good to just allow this nice organic feeling of the shoulders coming towards the knee. But then notice that it activates different parts of your body if you breathe the belly in and hinge at the hip. It should be a lot more intense on the left outside hip. So take a moment, take equal amount of time on both sides. Notice if one side might feel different than the other. And then gently come up. As you begin to release the left foot down, windshield wiper the knees and feet again. And let's get into a nice easy twist. So come back to that middle part of your seat. Inhale the shoulders up. Let them relax. Feel this lengthening of every vertebra and every part of your spine. And the tailbone roots down into the chair. Crown of the head reaches up. And then you'll just take this right arm, get some wingspan, and bring it to the outside of maybe the back side of the chair. You can bend this left elbow and get this nice belly twist. What we want to do is not dip and sink into this left shoulder. I'm not doing this kind of twist. I'm lifting up through my spine, twisting, getting every type of engagement, maybe looking over my left shoulder. What you want to try to do is keep the knees close together so that the hips stay in one place on the chair, and you're just getting this nice supine twist the same way that you would if you were laying on the ground. Notice that you can do this anywhere you are. If you're at work and you're feeling that there's a lot of tightness and lower back pain, you can root up, get a nice little twist. Maybe you might feel some expressions, and then be sure to go the opposite direction so you can extend your wingspan. Make it a dance, or like you're getting just some discovery in your body. And look over the opposite shoulder. Root and feel strengthening in the side bodies, and feel this left hip wanting to grow and twist as well. And then when you're ready, you can come back through center. Roll the shoulders a few times on your own breath and your own pace, noticing how it feels to lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then spiral them down your back, opening up the chest, breathing and making more space for your lungs. And then when you're ready, you can slowly reach the arms up overhead, big stretch, feel the belly want to pull up and in, and then interlace your hands behind your back, or behind your neck rather. And as you're here, see if you can soften in the shoulders but engage in the core. We're going to slowly take this right elbow to the right knee, and we're going to get this nice juicy opening on the side bodies. It feels oh so good. You might feel it the next day. And then allow maybe the eye gaze to come in towards the knees and then up back around. Take it as if it was going through quicksand. Take a deep inhale, and then we'll take the left elbow over to the outside of the left knee. And then feel the hips and the side bodies. Get some nice attention, a nice expression. And inhale. If you'd like to go ahead and drop the shoulders, roll them out. Maybe you bring right ear to right shoulder, then left ear to left shoulder, and then chin to chest. Then you can begin to just bring out the arms like you're holding that beach ball, and get some nice final rolls. And go opposite directions, pendulum. And then feeling it into the shoulders. My shoulders got some nice activation. And then you'll come all the way back up, interlace the hands, maybe walk the feet out to where the ankles are directly underneath the knees. Soften the shoulders, pull the belly button in, and then flow forward. Allow the head and neck to be loose and long. And if it feels good for your head and neck and your shoulders to heel toe the feet out towards the edge of your mat, maybe the base of your back thighs are resting on the chair, you can maybe windshield wiper, or as I call, make half moon shapes with your shoulders and your head. And then inhale, make contact with the floor of your feet with your fingertips, maybe tinting them out like spidey fingers. Then inhale, halfway lift. Maybe on inhale, your toes lift away from the mat, and exhale, the elbows back in between your legs. This is much like your yogi squat malasana or prepping for crow even, but just allow yourself to be inverted. And it really is healthy. It helps drain all of this tension in the shoulders to really allow ourselves to slow down the heart rate, to be present, and to get all the benefits and stress relief of being upside down. Then when you're ready, you can interlace your hands back behind your head, or you can just bring your hands to your thighs, push into them, and allow the energy from your biceps and triceps and shoulders to turn on so that your head and neck are completely loose. And just notice the difference, how it is then when we put energy into our head and move kind of momentously or without really thinking about it, versus allowing the head and neck to be long head and neck come up last like a rag doll. Slowly come up and feel just like that nice, gentle opening of everything that's on the backside of our neck that really we get crunched, or we crunch whenever we're looking at our phone, sitting at a computer, driving. And so really being focused and centralized in that space really helps open up everything. As we're in our gentle seat, we can sweep the arms up once again. And as you have your arms in the air, you can soften the shoulders and broaden the wingspan. I always think of a bird-like feeling. And then as your thumbs come up towards the ceiling, you can begin to bend in the elbows. As you bend into the elbows, I'm just going to locate and identify where the areas of your lobster claws that you can make with your hands are going to engage. So right where my strap is, where my head and neck and shoulders attached, there's a place where the adrenal glands reside. And it's where we can store a lot of our tension. And of course, it's like when we're hunched over, they collapse because the shoulders want to self-protect and preserve this heart and this rib cage area. And then also if we tend to slouch or just like lean back, they don't get a lot of activation too. Because if you think about when you're walking, when you're running, when you're seated at your computer or driving, your head is very much looking forward in alignment with your shoulders. But whenever do we really keep our shoulders stagnant and completely stable and turn our heads? So the reason why these adrenals get a little bit calcified or not activated is because we don't really open the shoulder and then allow the head and neck to do a lot of movement. But so when you have these lobster claws, you can begin, I'll take this right one, you can begin to tap into this space, almost as if you were grabbing the shoulder and really pulling this muscle to where that nice crevice of like a dam would be. And then you can begin to lift the elbow up. Try to keep the head and neck where it would be originally, straight forward, pull the belly in, and maybe flutter the eyes closed and hold for a count of a minute, 2 minutes. And as you breathe and inhale, you can feel the muscle push back into the fingers and the pulse of your heart rate into your thumbs or into your front or index finger. And then just hold here and feel a physical release. And you can have both done at the same time, where you can switch it out and do one side and then the other. But just really try to align that head and neck so that you can, it's almost like you're using your head and neck as a lever in the hinge of your door so that you can really feel that muscle. So notice if it's over here, it might feel a little stretched where your collarbone and the back body is. But then when you keep that head and neck stacked over the shoulders, it's really using it to open up this part of your head and neck. And then you might roll the shoulders after you come out and breathe in deeply and resettle and regroup and feel, oh, I must have been holding a lot of tightness from work or from my personal relationships. And then also a nice thing is it gets kind of into your hands. Your hands get activated in a way that's very different from the yogic of spreading the fingers. You're now really intentional with these lobster claws. So the next thing that we're going to do to set up for is a nice little, as I call it, you have supported bridge when you're on the floor. And what that looks like is you want to feel stable in your chair, but come by bringing your hands to the middle of the chair, and then maybe walk your feet out and let the hips sink, and let yourself do a little bit of kind of some tricep, bicep releases. And they're kind of called upright rows, I think. I don't remember exactly, but you want to stack your knees over your heels and feel the front sides of the shoulders push forward. And then after you get a nice activation, you can walk your feet out a little more and drop the head and neck and lift the hips up in that upward kind of facing bridge-like style. Maybe rock and roll on the heels, so reversing the bridge. And then if you want even more of an additional challenge, you can bring the heels together, lift the hips, toes spray open and widen. Notice how when you inhale and exhale, you're just doing a reverse plank, and then slowly walk your feet back. Everything moves as a unit, and then regaining composure onto your chair. For additional core, which we'll conclude on, you can begin to come into that like boat-like style pose by bringing the knees up and feeling this crunch into your core. You can tap the toes onto the mat, but noticing that your back wants to go back towards the back of the chair. Try to keep it upright. You're using your inner thighs and your core, and you're just merely walking it out in your chair. This is really important if you feel really tight and stagnant in your hips, and it also helps level things out. And you might feel the shakes in your shoulder blades, and you might want to crunch in, and maybe this might be easier, but we really want to open the chest like you would in your boat pose and feel as if there's a string coming out of the chest, but you also feel that you're pulling the energy and the breath into your lower belly, supporting the lower back. And then after a few toe taps, you can come back through center and just recognize just the tautness and tightness of your upper body core and your legs. And then as you release and contract, or as you release, you can notice this is how it feels to sit probably normally, and this is how it feels to bring everything up and in, and to soften the shoulders, and to toe tap and come into that Wizard of Oz expression. And you can weave any of these postures to anything that you're feeling. You might be sitting there and being like, oh, I just need to take my hands to my desk and let my body fold over and release my head and neck. You might feel, oh, my back feels a little kind of cattywampus, so I'm gonna just get into this nice little twist. But really, it's about your own expression and weaving it into your practice. So I hope that this all was a great sequence for you to remember that at work, you're not limited or caged by your desk. It's not going to be equivalent to smoking when you have these tools to really feel the body and to get these nice movements, which is really about being more body aware. So I really want to express gratitude and thank you for joining me here in my chair, and I will be seeing you in the next video.
We at Wellness Plus specialize in all things health and wellness, ranging from yoga and fitness to massage and ASMR. Whether you are looking to target specific areas of tension or want to enhance your general self-care routine, we provide the tools you need to feel better, look better, and live better. We have courses for every level, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro. Our courses provide a wide range in difficulty to accommodate your evolving flow.
Welcome back to Yoga with Jess. We are going to break down some really essential postures.
We are going to rock out with some of the most essential ab exercises that you need to have the abs that you've always dreamed of.
I've blended techniques to help you connect with students, and you can be a rock star teacher.
Wellness Plus is available on your phone, tablet, or TV. Join Wellness Plus today and get your first 7 days free.